we were going to look at why communities form around certain things, such as Harry Potter, Star Wars, Family Guy, or even wrestling. Community is a very broad subject, so we're going to break it down. Here are some definitions for you. Community. It is a society, group of people, so by community, communities, we mean the people that group or gather around a certain genre. Audience is generally known as the people that view or spectate the particular thing, or it could just be the community around certain genres. Audience can be targeted and genres can be made just to sell something, be it a product or ideology. Fan or fanatic, what's the difference? The definition of a fan is an ardent follower, an admirer and enthusiast. The definition of a fanatic is a person marked or motivated by an extreme unreasoning of enthusiasm. A quote from Henry Jenkins' book Textual Poachers is that fans are not passive, mindless, manipulated consumers of culture, but active creators of their own cultures. From our research, we can agree with this because we've looked into how people can now take something and create it and put their own spin on it to make their own media and make their own videos if they wanted to make a fan video. For example, if we looked at how the spreadability value of videos now and how that could spread across the internet. For example, if somebody makes a video and puts it in their blog and one person sees it and they tweet about it, somebody may see that and create a fan page on Facebook, and before you know it you've got thousands of people on there. Once this is on YouTube, you can have people make copies of that, you can make people mash it up, and you can make people make fan videos of your video, and that's something that you wouldn't have had quite a few years back. So I think that Henry Jenkins is right with what he's saying with this. But that's only that we can relate to his quote from the research that we've got. For our primary research, we decided to go to Yeovil College and ask students there what they are fans of and why. We hope that this will get us closer to our answer as to why communities form around certain products. Please excuse the quality of this footage as it's only used for research purposes. What do you consider yourself a fan of?
Well, music, animation, etc.
Alright, I'd say I'm quite a big fan of the Alien films.
Quite a fan of Batman.
Okay, and why? Why are you a fan of that?
I just think I like the genre, to be quite honest, the sci-fi horror aspect of it more than anything. And I do quite like sort of seeing people's glimpses of the future.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you read books from like the 1800s and that, like H.G. Wells and things like that, the Time Machine.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of his glimpses of the future were quite accurate, and I just watch films to see sort of how people think it's going to go in the next, say, 100 or maybe 1,000 years.
It's just dark and comic-y and really cool.
So you like it because it's not like real life, because it's kind of like fantasy.
Yes, yeah,
well,
definitely.
You can escape that?
Yes,
Okay.
I would say that.
Just because it's quite different, it could be over the top, it could be subtle, it could be British, whatever.
You can pretty much do anything in animation,
Yeah.
can't you? Which sometimes you can't create in a
For example,
real
you
world.
as much as Japanese animation where it's completely over the top and really cartoony, even. You get CGI, etc., where it's more realistic. So.
But why do you think communities form around, say, Batman, for an example?
I just think that if people like something, they want to know that they're not stupid in liking it, that there are other people that think the same way that they do. So and they also really enjoy like swapping trivia and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. And are you a part of any like fan forums or anything like that? Have you spoken to anyone that's been a fan of the same thing with you?
I did join the when Sherlock was on the BBC. I did join the fan forum for that, but I've not been on it.
I think people look for escapism in films more than anything, a get away from your everyday life. And for many people that comes in different things like fans that dress up as certain characters from movies. I'm not saying I would ever consider doing that, because I think that's a bit verging on the sad, but no, I do think a lot to do with it is escapism, and you're bored with your everyday life, so...
It's individual, like a bit of individuality, it's expression.
Yes, basically.
Yeah. From this research, we found that although many people were fans of lots of different things, they were solely a fan of it for entertainment. The keywords that came up were that people wanted to be a fan to escape from their reality and to be individual. However, they also wanted to be part of the group. They didn't want to miss out on anything. And you look at groups that are made on Facebook for this, some of the things that are made are completely pointless, but thousands of people joined because they don't want to be left out.
The social network on YouTube itself is mostly for flaming. The social network that matters is where that YouTube gets embedded in someone's blog, when it gets put on a MySpace page, when it gets passed along as a link. All kinds of social networking takes place around YouTube. YouTube would not work the way it does without social networks. But I would say the least interesting social network per se is the one that's through YouTube's site, where the content is often homophobic, racist, sexist, mean-spirited. It's not a community. It's a place where people go to bash each other. But the richness comes when communities take that stuff up and use it in other contexts, in other spaces.
We decided to focus on one thing in particular, so that we stopped referring to the fan community as this or they. We wanted something that you could look at. We wanted to look at wrestling, because it already had a large community. And I, being a fan myself, have already made fan videos, which I have fans of that for on YouTube. So, if you're a first-time viewer, here's a little summary of what wrestling is. So there you have it. But why are people fans of this? And why are people fans of my work? I decided to pose the question to my subscribers. Here's the video that I made, and here's a few of the responses I got. I need to know why you're a fan of pro wrestling. But it doesn't just have to be that, it could be anything. Family Guy, The Simpsons, Justin Bieber. I want to know why you're a fan of it. However, I don't just want comments below, I need video responses, so they'd be really useful.
They look up to these people, they want to be like these people. I want to be like these people. Kids look up to them like they're gods because of what they do, and that's just great what the wrestling business does for them. And people say that they don't like wrestling anymore because the Attitude Era's gone, John Cena's came in, everything sucks, but they still watch it. If you pay attention and people on YouTube say that they think the Attitude Era sucks, people still watch it. Because they can't take their eyes, because they've watched it for many years, they can't take their eyes off it. And that's the main thing in this, that wrestling does. And that's why I like wrestling.
As well as this, we also had permission to use the following video, in which it saw wrestling fans being interviewed before a live event. They spoke to the camera about why they're a fan and for how long. Take a look.
I wouldn't have anything else in the entire world in this place.
To me, it was like a live comic book. That was pretty awesome.
Just a diehard wrestling fan, man. I love every second of it. I'm glad I'm here.
Like almost 20 years now, and watching wrestling because it's like for me, it's interesting every week. You know, it's like a middle soap opera. You know, you have to tune every week, and it just every week is exciting. You know, and I've been following it for such a long time, can't quit now. You know.
This is something that, you know, myself and my brother, we did ever since we were kids, ever since we were, 2 feet tall. It's just something that, part of my childhood that has always remained with me. I'm 29 years old right now, and I couldn't think of a better thing to be doing right now on a Sunday here in Los Angeles than be at SummerSlam.
It's rather entertaining. Did a speech in my speech class to try to convince people to watch more wrestling. I don't think it worked, but whatever.
So that's it. From our research and our secondary research, we can conclude that communities form because of a sense of belonging. Fan culture will always be there, especially with the growing technology in this day and age. Wright and Costa say that participatory culture is like a pyramid. It will continue to grow, but not everyone will want to participate.